Jury selection begins in Las Vegas for the man accused of helping to kill rap icon Tupac Shakur. Dwayne "Keefe D" Davis allegedly helped plan the shooting, but was not the one who pulled the trigger. He's been in jail since 2023.
I didn't do it, and I'm an innocent man. I wasn't even in Las Vegas.
Shakur's long unsolved murder has captivated hip-hop fans for decades. In 1996, he was shot multiple times during a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas on his way to perform at a club. He died 6 days later at just 25 years old.
It was devastating. We lost an icon, and we lost a friend.
The investigation was cold until Davis started making public statements about the shooting and published a tell-all memoir saying he was a rival gang's leader who was reportedly seeking revenge. In an interview with our Fox affiliate in Las Vegas, Davis said there was no rivalry with Shakur.
Description. I did not write that book. A ghostwriter wrote that. We was never at odds with each other. Me and him is friends since we've been knowing each other since we was 8 years old.
Prosecutors hope to prove Davis helped orchestrate the murder and provided the weapon.
He was kind of the boss of that group, and that he would have been the one to give the order. I'm bringing in everything that I can find to make it seem as if Keefe D was the biggest boss in the world and that everybody would have only made a move if he told them to.
The trial is expected to last up to 5 weeks.
So let's talk about the approach, first of all, for the prosecution here. How do they go about trying to get a murder conviction and proving that Dwayne Davis ordered this killing, even though someone else pulled the trigger?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. Really great question. 30 years ago is a long time ago when it comes to evidentiary basis. The prosecution is going to have a tough time showing that Keefe D was responsible for making the call. I think they're calling it a shot caller. The biggest thing they're going to have to do now is not identify the shooter, but identify that Keefe D, Dwayne Davis, beyond a reasonable doubt, had enough power and influence to have others shoot and kill Tupac Shakur. That's going to be the biggest hurdle, with evidence that's 30 years old, witnesses who are no longer available, and a trail that has gone cold multiple times.
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges ahead here, clearly, for the prosecution. How important do you think it's going to be for prosecutors to give an explanation to the jury about who did actually fire those fatal shots? How much does that matter?
Yeah, legally, it doesn't matter nearly as much as finding the criminal culpability of Mr. Davis. Practically speaking, it's a credibility issue. At this point, the defense can come in and say, if they can't even identify who shot Tupac, how can they say that Mr. Davis is responsible for the calling of the shots, of the orchestra of his murder? It's going to be incredibly important, I think, from a credibility standpoint, but from a legal standpoint, it's going to be more important to show that Davis curried enough favor amongst the hip-hop community, amongst the gang that he was involved with, that he was responsible for anything that happened in that gang.
How much do you think the prosecution's case is going to rely on the public statements from Davis, what he, allegedly wrote in this tell-all book and some of the statements that he's made publicly during interviews?
Yeah, I think his memoir, The Legend of a Compton Street Legend, is essentially a roadmap for how to put me in a defendant's chair. This is a case where, but for his own statements, but for his own hubris, coming forward to talk about what he did, his role in the gang, his role in the murder, the prosecution didn't have a whole lot. And I think what happened is when they started digging into his own words, they were able to verify information that was held back from the investigation in 1996. They were able to execute a search warrant in 2023 that put those two pieces together and get enough information both to charge him and to get him indicted for the trial starting today.
Almost seems like yesterday. 30 years. 30 years it took for them to dig into this case and finally get it to court and try somebody for Tupac's murder. It was only a matter of time for Keefe D going on all these podcasts, running his mouth about this case and his involvement. Seems to be coming back and biting him in the ass. All this man had to do was keep quiet, zip his lips. But for clout and notoriety, he couldn't resist temptation. Wanted the world to know he's the man. He knew exactly what was going on instead of staying out the way and being quiet. For those who don't know, probably living under a rock, possibly, Keefe D is a former gang boss leader accused of orchestrating the 1996 killing of Tupac Shakur. They officially begin the jury selection August 10th, 2026. So far as we know, Keefe D is the only one, as of right now, is criminally charged in connection with the drive-by shooting. If convicted, he faces life in prison without parole. So they're not accusing Keefe D of actually pulling the trigger. Instead, they argue he was the shot caller who masterminded and provided the handgun used to kill Tupac. Everyone else that was in that vehicle with alleged Keefe D, they have since died. To me, somebody has to take a fall for it. How hot this case is, how long it's been, they're looking for someone to take the fall. A man that was in the clear, no evidence, no nothing of his involvement, basically incriminated himself. Running his mouth on different podcasts, wrote a book, and now backtracking all of this. It was a ghostwriter. At least that's what his defense team is going to try to prove. He over-exaggerated the story just to sell a book, said some lies, bolstering, gaining popularity, however you want to look at it, but everything he falsified. And now that will all be up to a jury to believe. Falsified, or is he capable of pulling off such acts that he talked about, even in the book? So everybody's looking forward to this case, this trial. So the important thing about all of this is that even if you won't get all the truth, you're going to get some of the truth. After this trial is over, you're going to know more, feel a different way, but you'll have a little bit, the people who are looking for it, closure, you'll have a little bit of closure, if not all of it. But to me, more names are going to come out. I think it's a lot more players involved. And to whoever's following this case, you're going to learn a lot more as it goes on. Like I said, it's going to be about a month or a little over, collecting all evidence. So we're going to get more into it. If you're coming in, hit the like button, and we're going to continue the coverage and appreciate it.
Saying that he was in the car the night that Tupac was shot and that someone in the back seat of his Cadillac was the one that shot the gun. Now, he's never said who did it, but prosecutors say it doesn't have anything to do with him pulling the trigger. It has to do with whether or not he orchestrated the killing. But Davis now says that his memoir and the interviews that he gave were all lies, that it was about fame, money, and that he felt pressured into doing it. He also says that his memoir was written by a ghostwriter and filled with inaccuracies. So now his defense team has to basically say that he's a liar, and the prosecutors have to prove that no, he was telling the truth all along. Now, I do want to talk to you about this deeper connection that Davis actually has to the night that Tupac was shot in Vegas. That's because Davis's nephew, Orlando Anderson, was actually beat up by Tupac, and the shooting took place just a few hours later. The theory is that Davis orchestrated this shooting in retaliation to his nephew being beat up. The jury has a lot to figure out, and the public can follow along because there's actually going to be a live stream of this entire trial.
He didn't directly say, yo, put a hit out on Tupac and Suge, but he did make comments about it. Maybe he wasn't serious about it, but he did when he was around you, saying that, yo, I'll put $1 million if somebody can handle Tupac and Suge. Even if he wasn't serious about it, but he did say that around you.
It was floating in the air. I'll just say that. Yeah.
So before we get off of that, you and Puffy was hanging out one day, and he wasn't serious about it, but it was floating in the air. He made a comment.
You just gonna keep on trying to get that. I keep saying it was floating in the air, dog.
Okay, gotcha.
Let's move past that.
Okay.
I'm bigger than that, homie. If I send motherfuckers, what I look like, the man pulling out a gun. That's just like Suge pulling out a gun. Come on, homie.
Right.
What I look like pulling out a gun?
Man, Keefe D was giving them everything they needed to start this trial. Never knew it. And as you can see on some stuff, he just kind of, he don't want to come off the information too much and go too much in detail. But shit, at that point, man, you'd already done said enough. You done said enough. So floating in the air and using words like that, man, they don't need much. Man just talked too much for too long. And he's paying for it. Paying for it right now as we speak. Whatever's going to happen in this trial. But him getting off squeaky clean, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And I just don't understand how a man in the clear will get up on podcasts and write a book boasting about this situation. Boasting about it. And the way he tells these stories, man, you have to be there. Some of the stuff he's describing, I tell you what, if this man has been lying, he's got a hell of imagination. I'll tell you that. A hell of imagination. I just don't think nobody's that damn good. Not that good.
If that would have fucking happened, I would have been on the news for murders. If I would have pulled a gun on the motherfuckers, Suge would have been dead, Tupac would have been dead, Reggie Wright would have been dead, a whole lot of motherfuckers would have been dead. I would have emptied the clip. I ain't gonna pull no gun on nobody without using it. That's a street law, man. That'll get you killed quick, dude. You don't pull no gun without using it, homie. I'm from the old school. I'm a real Crip, dude. I'm not fucking pulling no gun without using it. I would have been on the news, homie. I would have been in custody.
Some of the most allegedly damning evidence against Keefe D may have come from Keefe D himself. 2019 memoir, Compton Street Legend. He apparently described being inside the white Cadillac, writing that, quote, one of my guys from the back seat grabbed the Glock. In a 2008 recorded interview with investigators, he apparently described his nephew Orlando Anderson saying he leaned over, rolled down the window, and popped him. 2018 BET interview, Keefe D said, when he pulled up, I was in the front seat. Now, the defense argues these stories were exaggerated, that they were fabricated, that they were all designed to sell books and get attention. They've even questioned whether Keefe D actually wrote the book. See, the problem with that is he once allegedly admitted he was the author in a jailhouse call. Okay, not great for the defense, but is all this bad enough to convict him? Because reportedly, no murder weapon, no car, no surveillance footage of the actual shooting in question. Are you going to have direct eyewitnesses? Maybe.
Now, you were just talking about how you feel that Arsenio and Eddie and who else did you name there? Spike Lee and some other people just
Paul
really?
Abdul. Before I say it, let me say it like this. These are people who, besides Paul Abdul, these are people who I looked up to.
Yes,
Arsenio,
we all do.
Spike and Eddie Murphy. This is the only reason I'm saying this, because I love them and I want them to check
Well,
themselves.
good, because I want to make that clear.
I'm not out just, I know that people hate to see black folks arguing. It's not like that. It's just me, a young man, asking my role models to, explain.
So
How could you be down for black? Okay, now Spike Lee, first of all, Ernest Dickerson is his cinematographer, did every picture he ever made. You know what I'm saying? He's responsible for his success. Let me tell it. So Ernest Dickerson does his first solo movie, a black film, right? I feel as though in supporting black film is not just about going to the premiere. It's not about just going to buy tickets to see Jungle Fever. It's about, supporting black film, black actors, black directors. We never saw Spike Lee. I expected, his cinematography.
He never came to the set?
Just one day, I just wanted him to come and go, good luck. Just, while he's riding in a limo, good luck. You know what I'm saying? On his way to Brooklyn, good luck. Young black male. He knows what we had to go through. He knew about all of that. He knew everything we was going to have to face and no solidarity. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, people need to know. All the ghetto people that want to know if Spike is down, no, he ain't down. Not to me. He need to check himself. Because he need to stop disrespecting black women in his films.
In what way?
In every film, Jungle Fever, every film he ever had, it's got to be a love scene. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be where a black man is slamming into a black woman or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't cool. That's not how he's supposed to be representing us as a whole, because he's going to forget where he came from. And he didn't come from Brooklyn. He came from a woman.
Don't you think it's important, though, that, whatever you say about Spike, he's got a lot of us working. Does that matter?
That doesn't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. Dope dealers got a lot of us working. That don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? You can't compromise our culture and our principles just to put us to work, just to make us appeal to the masses. Because revolutionaries and freedom never came easy. You know what I'm saying? And he knows he has a lot of work. So if he's up there and it's easy, he should know something is not right.
Yeah.
And something's not right, buddy. And Eddie Murphy, with all that dough he's making, he hasn't done nothing for us.
He does a lot of charity.
What charity doesn't get to the ghetto. Everybody knows that. Everybody who ever came out the ghetto knows they never saw any charity.
They don't see the charity benefits
that goes
we
for
all
the
go
suburban black people. You know what I'm saying? The middle class black folks who don't need the money. They get the charity. Because how can a white person give the money to the ghetto and they scared to go to the ghetto?
Yeah, very good point. Very good.
So
very
why
good
would
point.
I don't understand why would they do that to us? Eddie Murphy, knowing he built his career on making black folks laugh. He built his career off black humor, off us. We was the loudest laughing at him. We was the loudest clappers, we paid the most to see his concerts, was there, supported him, and he deserted us.
You know what I'd love to do? I'd like to get you, Eddie, and Arsenio and Spike. We'll have to get a roundtable discussion going so we can hear what they have. Because I'd like to hear them respond.
The reason I want
this.
to say this on TV is because I want them to check themselves. I want them to hear this young black male checking them and then check themselves. It's not a diss thing.
When you first moved to Oakland, that was your first stop in California?
Right.
And
No. Marin City was before.
Marin City? Okay.
Then also.
Well, you left Baltimore and came to Marin City.
Yes.
And when you were in Baltimore, you were in School of the Performing Arts.
Yes.
How come you didn't enroll in one when you came to California?
I couldn't find one. When I came to California, I was broke, so I had to go to a regular high school.
But you eventually dropped out, right?
Yeah, sure did. I didn't have enough credits. Like, everybody was about to graduate. I went into the 12th grade, was about to graduate, everything. Right before I was about to graduate, they was like, you got to come back next year and get a health credit and a physical education credit. And I was like, oh, hell no. I had just barely made it out with money coming to school and lunch money and all that. I said, I got to get paid. I got to find a way to make a living. So I dropped out, knowing that I would have graduated. It wasn't no big thing. Not to say that y'all shouldn't graduate, but for me at that particular time, it was more important that I found somewhere to live.
But you did get your GED. You moved out on your own. And what did you get as far as a job is concerned? What did you do when you stopped going to school?
I only had 2 jobs ever in my life. One was in Round Table Pizza. I used to make the pizza, but it was good. It was the perfect job, Tabitha, because I was hungry and I got to eat all the toppings off people's pizza. That's why, because everything is right there. Could you imagine? I was making pizzas on the side, bringing pizzas home. I'm calling in my own deliveries. You know what I mean? Let me get 2 shrimp with everything. But that job, I lasted about a month. Then I worked as the guy that packs your bags in the supermarket for about, 2 weeks. Then the dude kept catching me writing raps by the time clock. I used to be like, I'm gonna write for
Instead
an
of
hour,
loading
work for an
people's
hour.
groceries.
She can carry her own shit.
With all the encouragement that you got in Baltimore at the High School of Performing Arts for your acting, did it ever occur to you to come out to California and be a professional actor here when your mom moved out here?
Nah, that was the last thing on my mind. When I came to California, I was broke, nowhere to stay.
What do you mean nowhere to stay?
I didn't have anywhere to stay. I was staying with a friend of a friend of a friend of my mother.
Why weren't you staying with your mother?
Because she was in Baltimore and we didn't have any lights and electricity. We was about to get evicted, so she sent me first. You know how mothers do. Protect the young. So I went out there broke. I wasn't even thinking about acting. I was just thinking about surviving. But such is life. I ended up doing it. What I loved the most, I ended up doing both of those things.
During that time when you went to California, your mother was in Baltimore. Is that when she was a crack addict?
No, she was addicted to crack when I was in California. First week in California. What's up? All right, what's happening?
And what was that like to have a mother who was addicted to crack?
I love my mom. She the bomb to me, so
I know
love
she
all
is
the
now,
mistakes.
but what about then?
It was hard. It was hard because, she was my hero.
Did you ever have any temptation with crack?
Never, ever, never. My father died like that, but a man that I knew was my father, it was never my thing. Everything was just going bad for her. It's harder for a woman to raise a family than it is for a man. Oh, yes, all day. What you think? A little bit of meat? Tip it to the side, a little something. It ain't my style. They're not Gutiérrez.
Give me a characterization of your childhood. How would you describe what it was like growing up?
I was the total opposite of what I am right now. I was quiet, withdrawn. I read a lot. I wrote poetry. I kept a diary. I watched TV all the time. I stayed in front of a television. I went to movies. Everything.
What did you do that was, I mean, it seems like going from a homeless shelter to a project or having to worry about having enough food on the table must have been very difficult. How did you deal with that? Were there any therapeutic ways for you to heal yourself?
I smoked weed. I hung out with the drug dealers and the criminals, and I got...
and that made you feel better?
Interestingly enough, yes, because they have those same problems, and they found a way to get out of it.
All I gotta do is get deep into the drums, you know what I mean, and get deep into the science of the 5 boroughs, because that's what that is. Right. But when you get to the science of the 5 boroughs, that's so small. I hate going to there. I hate going there, and I don't think that New York should let me go there. Right. I could give you a group that could go there. I'll rap on their shit. Let them go there. But the 5 boroughs is not how we gonna take over a nation. Right. How we gonna have a nation, and that's what I feel. I know the 5 boroughs inside, and I know the science. I know everything, the history, everything. You know what I mean? But I know the world history too, and that shit is small. It's right. Dope. It's like a cool ass hometown, but you gotta grow. Just like if you try to plant something in the concrete, you know what I mean? Yeah. If it grow, and the rose petal got all kind of scratches and marks, you're not gonna say, damn, look at all the scratches and marks on the rose that grew from the concrete. You're gonna be like, damn, a rose grew from the concrete? Yeah. Same thing with me, you know what I mean? I grew out of all this. Instead of saying, damn, he did this, just be like, damn, he grew out of that? He came out of that? That's what they should see, you know what I mean? Listen to his style. He changed from that to Big Papa. Because of me. He had my album, Me Against the World was the second one. He had the first one. I changed everything because Ready to Die came out and it sounded like my album. Mm-hmm. All my album was about, you know, dealing with death. Mm-hmm. And then he came out Ready to Die and I had to switch it. Wow. That's why it was less East Coast rap, East Coast beats, because Biggie had just took my shit.
That's what, but you could listen to it. That's what that was a success too, because he took like West Coast sound.
We flipped it. I told him that. I told him that. I trained. He was supposed to be Thug Life. Mm-hmm. All while he was coming up, I used to let him come on stage with me. He was screaming Thug Life.
Hey, cause
he was like, I hate Brooklyn. I hate New York. I'm out with them niggas puppy cheating me. Woo woo woo. All of a sudden he blew up, and he wasn't saying Thug Life. Mm-hmm. So I started getting mad. While I'm in jail, strangers is telling me, yo, you don't know? Biggie homeboy shot you. Cause they bragging, they telling they niggas in jail, yo, we just got popped, woo, woo, woo. And my cousin was in jail in New York, cause I got family out there. Mm-hmm. He's sitting right there while the niggas get in the car going, yo, my homeboys just jacked that nigga Tupac. So that's how I knew who shot me, what happened, and everything. They mad because I know what happened. That's why they all, you know, it's Biggie and them, they're not riding. Mm-hmm. That's why what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing, I'm destroying them. Mm-hmm. I fucked his wife, I'm fucking them in the game, I'm destroying them. He lives by the rules of the game. He lives off a mafia image. I'm bringing him, showing how he totally disregarded the rules of the game, and he's everything but a mafia nigga.
You're reinventing it.
Right, I'm showing him. You know what I mean? Like if anybody's a mafia nigga, me, nigga. I fucked your bitch, I took 5 shots, I went in your crew. I mean, I just what? Mm-hmm. I went to New York. They don't do shows out here. I did Saturday Night Live. Y'all forgot. Live in New York, where everybody knew I was gonna be there on stage, no problems. Went to the clubs, everything. In the middle with my West Side ride. You know what I mean? Because I'm real about it. I don't hate New York, but if y'all don't understand it, then fuck it. You get rolled over too. Now America's got Jews and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us. And it's like, you know, everybody need a little help on their way to being, you know, self-reliant. I mean, if this is truly a melting pot in the country where we care about it, and Lady Liberty got a hand like this, she really loves us, then we really need to be like that. And it needs to be the black kids, and if there's a white person who got money, then he need to help them. He need to help black kids, Mexican kids, Korean kids, whatever. But it need to be real. And it need to be before we all die, and then you say, oh, I made a mistake. We should have gave them some money. We really should have helped these folks. It's going to be too late. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you got to pay your own karma. And that's when God make you punish, when God punishes you. Because I feel like, you know, it's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for $36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic, that's just real.
That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1 million, $1 billion, and then there's people starving. There's no way. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers, pants. I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense to me. It don't. And then these people celebrate Christmas. They got big trees, huge trees, all the little trimmings. Everybody got gifts, and then somebody's starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and the whole nine.
One of the first questions I believe he asked, which kind of broke my heart, was, do you believe Tupac was bipolar? I resented that based on the fact that here was a kid that came up with nothing. He had absolutely nothing. He had some success. He had that success taken away from him when he went to jail on the flimsy false charges. To be shot once 5 times by black people, to be shot again 4 times later on in Vegas by, we're not too sure, but we believe black people were involved with other people. Bipolar doesn't fit. How can you be bipolar when people do things to you that make you or changes the way that you believe in them? He believed in black people. He loved black people. He would do anything for black people. And then to have that betrayal, unbelievable. And it hurt him. He couldn't believe that he was betrayed that way. He couldn't believe that people saw him in that light. So he would flare up. He would have his mood change, but who wouldn't? Imagine any human being going through those degrees of emotion. I think you would get different degrees of reactions, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that way. He was hurt. In prison, he told me he was hurt.
What attracted you to the Black Panther Party?
Justice. Not seeing justice for our people. Not seeing people treated the way that they should be. I came up in the 60s. I was in high school. I liked Malcolm X. They killed him. I even liked John Kennedy. They killed him. They killed Martin Luther King. This is all in a series of 5 years. Kind of molded me. They killed Robert Kennedy. They killed Matum in Africa. So it was a lot of death. And these were people that I looked up to, people that I liked, people who I thought were speaking truth. And then for you to assassinate them, to kill them, I think a change had to be done. And then I saw the police brutality of my people. I saw the poor housing of my people. I saw the lack of medical treatment for my people. I saw the lack of education for my people. And the Black Panther Party was the only organizations that were willing to put their lives on the line to try and change that. And I wanted to be a part of that. Let me tell you a story. I was pretty good in basketball. Matter of fact, I was all state, high school, went to college. First college game, scored 50 points. I was really the shit. I was really very good. I could have went, I believe, pro. But my political convictions made me quit college after 1 year and join the Black Panther Party. And I thought it was the greatest decision I ever made. I mean, I sacrificed a lot, but what I achieved, what I got from those experiences could never be duplicated. I could never have gotten it from college. I couldn't got any of that from any place else, any place. I would do that all over again. It's not a monetary good decision for me, but I wasn't looking at it that way. Money has never been my goal in life, to achieve that amount or any amount to make me happy. That wasn't what I wanted to do.
When did you meet Afeni Shakur for the first time?
I was in the Black Panther Party. Later on, I moved up. I was the captain of the New Jersey chapter of the Black Panther Party. We were stationed in Jersey City. We had chapters in Camden, Trenton, Asbury Park, Atlantic City. And we would have these meetings in various spots in New York, usually in the Bronx, a lot in Manhattan and Harlem, sometimes in Queens. But all the leaders from all the East Coast branches of the Black Panther Party used to convene regularly, maybe weekly, maybe bi-weekly, depends on circumstances that people were going through. And we would discuss our strategy, where we are, what we have to do. And I met Afeni at the Harlem office of the Black Panther Party. And I respected her. And I always thought she was a revolutionary who was willing to put her life on the line, like I. So we had that in common. And that's how we hooked up.
When Tupac was shot at Quad Studios, where were you when you got the news?
I was home in Jersey City, and my friend, Phil Webb, the police officer, he just started. And I hadn't seen Pac, and he knew about Pac. He saw Pac when he was a kid. I used to bring him over to Jersey City. He used to spend the night with me and my other kids. He used to sleep in the bunk beds with the kids. And he had called me and said that he had heard Tupac got shot. And I hadn't heard of it. And I looked on the news, and in fact, he had. I had been trying to reach Tupac for a long time. I was talking to his publicist, and she was telling me that certain people, well, Afeni had said that she had talked to Tupac and had told him that I wanted to meet him or see him after all the years of absence. And she told me that Pac wasn't ready, that he needed more time. Well, unfortunately, later I found out that this wasn't true. That no one had told Pac that I was available, that I was around, that I was his outlet. So that kind of hurt, if you know what I'm saying. That hurt a lot.
So at the age, you spoke about the age just a minute ago when Tupac would come over and sleep in the bunk beds.
He was about 3.
He was 3 years old.
Yeah, maybe about 2 or 3.
He was 2
and I took him to play basketball. And all my friends thought it was my other son, Malik, Carlos Malik. I had 6 beautiful kids, Landon, Carlos, and Nika, who just passed 2 months ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, heart attack. That's a hard one. Takira and my youngest son, Billy Jr. So I have 6. Now I have 4. No person should lose a child. Definitely no person should lose 2 children.
Absolutely.
But he was 2, and no, he was 3, actually. So we would play ball. We played professional semi-pro ball all over the East Coast. We were very good at it. Rucker tournaments, we were very good at it. But I took him to the gym, and all the guys said, "Is that Malik?" Because he looked so much like the rest of the kids. And I said, "No, that's Tupac." And they said, "Oh, okay." So I think that might have been one of the last few times he stayed with him, because he would come over and spend the night with the kids and spend some time with us, maybe a week or so. And one little incident too. They were all together. The boys had the bunk beds. The girl had her own room, Nika. But somebody peed the bed. Just give her humor. And we don't know who peed the bed. And we always said it was Pac, but it doesn't really matter. I just thought it was cute. That the fact that, in fact, he did maybe piss the bed, just like his dad used to do when he was a kid. So there you go.
What age was Tupac when you lost contact with him?
He had to be, I used to go over to the Bronx, Morningside. I used to visit him. Not as much, though. When the party broke up, it was something different. COINTEL had changed us. COINTEL had us looking at each other suspiciously. There had been a couple murders, Panther on Panther murder. That's when everybody went to 4 winds. They just scattered. Everybody went their different ways. And I was one of those who went a different way. I lost contact with Afeni, which later I found out she had moved to Baltimore, then Oakland. You see, so it was, I'd say maybe 13, 14 years, a gap of not seeing my son. People say, well, why didn't you look for him? I didn't know where. And then it was something that I wish I had more so, but nobody lived in stationary locations. We all moved. We had apartments. Even when we were in the Panthers, we had apartments throughout all the Bronx, all of Manhattan. We were like, you know, gypsies, not so much in that sense, but in the way we lived, we moved around a lot. So I went to a couple places, but nobody had seen her. They told me someone had moved to Baltimore, so I accepted that. And there was nothing I could do about it at that time. You know, I wasn't as stable as I had wanted to be. So what are you going to do?
And in the docuseries, there was a part where Alan Hughes basically said, he mentioned a number of addresses that Afeni had potentially moved to throughout that time. Do you think that was one of the things that probably prevented you also from finding out where Tupac was at?
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Yeah, it was just that way. I haven't seen members of the Black Panther Party to this day. Men I had slept and women I had slept in the same cadre with. Wherever you went, you sat, you slept. You went to the Bronx, you went down to DC, you went to Philly, you went to Memphis. Wherever you went, you stayed at the Panther cadre house. They gave you a gun and you slept. And when you got up, you went to do your business. So it was a situation where I don't think I could have, located them, even if I wanted to be honest with you. But the addresses, I knew a couple of them, but when I got there, they were all dissolved. Nobody was there. Like I said, the party dissolved. The party ended the way we knew it. You know, COINTEL had us looking at each other really strange. COINTEL had us looking at each other as enemies. You know, they were stealing our correspondence to one another, copying them, forging different messages, different meanings to the message that make East Coast didn't like West Coast. You understand what I'm saying? And it was all the government's way of fighting us. And they did a hell of a job. You know, they would do a lot of crazy stuff. We had a breakfast program. We would feed thousands of kids. Jersey City, we feed maybe 100 to 200 a day. And it's nothing like anything in the world, feeding little children, not just black, but white. So I'm talking from 5 to 15, 3 breakfasts, good food. And we had a way of getting it. We would just go around to the merchants who capitalized on black people and say, kick back. They said, what do you mean? Well, give us 5 packs of bacon. Give us 12 dozens of eggs. And when you do that to all, they would trip in. We had to get up 6 o'clock in the morning, but it was a beautiful thing. I still see people today in Jersey City come up to me and say, I used to eat in the breakfast program, and thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah. I enjoyed that, you know.
When did you first recognize Tupac again after losing contact with him? I believe it was a Juice poster or something like that.
My boy, same guy, called me up and said, I just saw a movie. And the guy's name was Tupac Shakur. And I'm looking at this poster. And if you look at the poster, kind of looked like me in the poster because he's in the front. But he really didn't look like me until you went to the movies. And then when I went to the movies, I saw him. And I was sitting in the theater and I started crying. And I'm sure people next to me must have been, why is this grown man crying in this movie? But they had no idea. I was seeing my son after 15 years on the big silver screen. And it gave me joy and happiness to see him. That's when I initially tried to contact him. And my concern was that he was my son, and I just wanted him to know that his dad was available. But people aren't always as honest as you think they are, my brother. They don't always tell the truth. You know, they don't always. Broke my heart, because these are people that I was willing to die with. You understand? That I'd struggled with. And I don't know. It just broke my heart. It broke my heart.
Why did you sue Tupac Shakur's estate?
It was an insult. I was Tupac's father. After the quad shooting, I was in Bellevue. I was Tupac's father. All my many visits to Clinton prison in Dannemora. I was Tupac's father in Las Vegas. Me and Feeney's in the Golden Nugget crying the night he died. So I was Tupac's father up until he died. And when it came time, I think it was the rebate or the death certificate. I think it was the rebate paper. I think it was the death certificate papers.
The probate?
Probate.
Okay.
And she had signed it that she was the mother. In that little section that says father, she had put that he was dead.
Wow.
Broke my heart. Broke my heart. Could have talked to me. I didn't want no money from Tupac. You were the mother. I didn't care. But for you to disrespect me and treat me like that, what else? I don't want this state. I just wanted to be noted that his father is alive. I'm not dead. And I resented the fact that you had said that. And you knew I wasn't. I wasn't dead all those other times that we were together with our son. So how did I die all of a sudden? And I can only deduce that it was over money. I hate to say that. I mean, come on, don't get me wrong. We're here talking about her, but I don't want to talk about her fame. She was a beautiful woman. She meant well. She was a revolutionary. But then something happened. I don't know. Later on, it was just that lie that made me see her in a different light. So I didn't see my son until he got shot at Bellevue. Whereas I don't need you or anybody else to tell me how I can hook up with myself. I'll go to Bellevue and see my son. And that's when the first time he saw me. He said he looked up and saw me, thought it was him as an older person. I laughed. I told him, he was just me and him in the room. I said, I'm with you now. Remind me of some scene of the fucking Godfather movie, but it was a true thing. We hugged and kissed, and then it was on and popping like that. He wanted me to come see him. It was an incident in the video, the documentary, where Jasmine Guy said that I just showed up at her apartment. Well, I wouldn't be able to find Jasmine Guy apartment if I knew how. I was sent for by Tupac to come visit him at Jasmine's Guy. That's what I had to do. He called for me, I came. And Close said something about he was rolling joints for the stars. I can't roll them blunts. Them niggas had a cigar box and a mountain motherfucking weed on the table. And it was that chronic shit. Now I got to show this nigga that I ain't no punk. I'm going to smoke with my son. Worst mistake I ever made. It was horrible. That's the strongest weed you could ever imagine. But I don't roll blunts. And for you to say that, it was just, the debate. Well, I thought it was legs. I thought it was this. I thought it was that. And then I found out, unfortunately, later on after she died, he died, that he would have heated arguments with her about her deception towards her father. Because if you listen to his music, he always wanted to know about his father. He always spoke of his father. I even accepted Dear Mama. My daddy's dead. You heard what he said. I said, well, I guess he just don't know because I ain't dead. There we go. But this is what people had told him. And so it was difficult. It was a difficult situation.
The legal battle between you and the Afeni Shakur became pretty ugly at times over Tupac's estate. At one time, she called you a sperm donor. How did that make you feel?
That kind of hurt. It kind of hurt. And then, why would you say that the greatest rapper of all times, father, you got from the sperm bank? It's like insulting. Why would you say that? And that hurt me. This was along the lines when I also said that I'm legally here and I'm challenging for the state. That's why I did it. All these accusations, all these things you're saying. No, let's have our day in court. Let's just work it out. I got some money from it. I got about $1 million, but it wasn't nothing that I could have gotten. I was never after the money. I just didn't want to be dead. I didn't want Tupac's dad to be dead. And I wasn't dead. And I resented the fact that you said I was dead to him. You know, I used to go to the prisons. I had Tupac when, like nobody else had him. He would not be able to come out of the 9x6 cell unless he had a visitor. He had plenty of visitors. I got a list. I have the visitors list from Clinton. And you can see everybody who visited Pac. On that list, it says William Garland, parent. Not only that, I had Pac for 6 hours. No weed, no women, no autograph seekers. Just me and him sitting at a metal table, chewing on shit. You know what I'm saying? Clear-eyed. And he asked me the most devastating questions about his mother. I thought it wasn't my duty to tell him anything negative about her. Unbeknownst that she had did all these other things and told him some other things, you know. And he would always ask me, Pops, you need some, that's what he called me, Pops. You need some money, you can't. Now you have to understand, I ain't got no money, but I didn't need no money. I was doing what I do, so I was just fine. And I could never take money from my son at this particular time because I never wanted anyone to think that I appeared to capitalize on our relationship. Man, between me and you, I could have used some money. You was giving it away to everybody else. You was giving it away to people in Vegas and shit. You take a whole tribe of people to Vegas. He told me some stories, negative things. You know, he'd give $30,000 to his mother and them. They go gambling. Maybe about 3-4 hours later, they come back looking for some more money. He always had the posse with him, which is his boys. But if you ever notice, real stars don't have 5 or 6 people hanging on. You go to the jewelry store, buy a piece of jewelry, you know you got to buy a piece for them. You go gambling in Vegas, you know you got to give them 10 G's. See what I'm saying? So it was always people extracting, taking things from him. I could never do that. I might have been the only one who never did. And he'd ask me, but I couldn't. Much as I probably could have used. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I couldn't. I just couldn't.
The second time that Tupac was shot in Las Vegas, where were you when you got the news?
I was home in Jersey City. Somebody told me Pac had got shot again. Unbeknownst to me, I knew that I'd have to go out there. I got on the next flight the next morning. I got out there. We sit in the parking lot with Quincy Jones' ex-wife. What's that? The Mod Squad girl. I forget her name. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can't.
And his girl. Right. He's sitting on the curb. And I remember she said to him, Mommy, who's he look like? Joking. Of course, I look like him a great deal younger. I'm older now, maybe not so much. And I don't know. I always thought he would come through. Pac had been shot before. And I just thought he would come through. But when I walked into that room, and he had a zipper here, the ventilator, bandage here. The face looked swollen from the induced coma. I just sat down and talked to him. The doctor said that he might be able to hear you, and it's good to talk to him. Don't look for him to talk back because he couldn't. He had that thing in his mouth. He never gained conscious. They had people talking about, I talked to him in the hospital and all that. Full of shit. You ain't talking to nobody in the hospital because he never gained conscious. Funny thing, though. Only a certain few can go in the room, relatives. But every time I came out, there was 2 Suge Knight guys sitting at the door. They'd always bum rush him and say, did Tupac say anything? Unbeknownst to me, I'm not paying attention to that. I don't know what behind that. Later on, I found out why. Maybe he thought he seen the people who had tried to kill him. But that might have been the saddest thing and in my life at that time, because I went back to the hotel and going back to the hospital. And on the radio, it said that Tupac Shakur had died. I was at a red light. Motherfuckers was blowing at me and honking and shit. I couldn't move. I just pulled aside the road, shed a tear. My son was killed. Still to this day, they don't know who or why. Damn sure wasn't Orlando Anderson over no fight. But that's another story for another time.
How long was the relationship between you and the Feeney? And do you remember when and where Tupac was conceived?
No, probably in the Bronx. So we did that. That's what we did to relieve the tension. I mean, it was serious shit. We might get killed tonight. They was breaking in Panther offices and apartments on the regular. You slept with a gun by your side, just in case. We always believe in self-defense. You come in and shoot at me, we shoot back. That's all. It was simple. It was just simple like that. So we had a relationship. Wasn't always, America boys and girls, but we had respect for one another. And I would say probably in the Bronx.
So in the Bronx?
Yeah.
In the Bronx. So how long would you say the relationship lasted?
Maybe about 18 months.
18 months?
Yeah, until the end, until that Cohen-Tell kind of destroyed the party, because that's what did it. They would just do stuff.
So that was a pretty extensive relationship. I mean, for what you guys were going through at that particular time, 18 months. I mean,
but we weren't married. It was always my man, my woman. We had respect for one another. I heard somebody say that I was a good driver. I think Jamal said that in the movie. Yeah, I was a good driver. That's why we put him on the Feeney. Motherfucker, I was the captain of the Black Panther Party in Jersey. Me and the Feeney was having love. We made love. And at night, when we left the Bronx, I would drop my ass off at the courthouse. Then I would go across the bridge and go back home to Jersey City and deal with what I had to deal with. I resented that. I just did. It was that you want to diminish me to build her up? That's what bothered me about the whole thing. Not for nothing. I don't want to get off on that, but it did bother me.
Brother Jamal Joseph said in the Dear Mama documentary that you were just a driver in the Panther Party. You were a very good driver, he said.
I heard that.
Could you please explain your actual position in the Black Panther Party?
Like I said, I was the captain in Jersey chapter of the Black Panther Party. The various chapters. Did a lot of different things. Some legal, some not. I don't want to get into that, but I found that insult that you looked at my commitment to the struggle of my people as just a driver or a Feeney's security or her personal driver. What an insult. Right then, I forget what that was, the first episode or whatever it was. I said, wow, well, this is not going the way I thought it would go. Kind of broke my heart. How dare you? I know Jamal. He was a fucking kid when I was in the Panther Party. He was a child. Matter of fact, his case got severed because he was the youthful offender. He wasn't old enough to be tried with the regular Panther 21. How dare you say that? A good driver? I was a good driver, but that ain't what the fuck I did. How dare you say that? It just broke my heart. Anyway.
Do you feel like Tupac was playing out of his league, involving himself with the situation with Orlando Anderson in Las Vegas that night?
I shouldn't have did that. But Pac would be edgy. He's just got hyper, and he thought he had the lead. And if you notice any video, everybody's following him around. He's the moneymaker. Death Row was $100 million thing, but everybody's following Tupac. Think about that logic. Everything he did, everybody attached themselves to him. And maybe he felt obligated to prove that I'm going to be your leader. And he struck first. Only because someone had told him that this is the guy who stole the Death Row medallion. That's like somebody told you somebody cursed at your mother or hit your mother. You're going to approach it. Now, the way he did it was off limits. You don't cameras every fucking where. Come on. But that's that irrational shit you do. And, that broke my heart. But there's a lot of little shit that he did. But then look all the good shit he did, though. Well, look what he did. Look what he's done. I don't think it'll be done again.
I don't either.
Don't think so.
Do you think that Tupac claimed or join the gang?
No.
The MOB gang?
No.
Do you think?
No. If you ever look at some of his pictures, he had blue bandanas on. He had red ones on. He had to, I don't want to say pretend, but he had to, that was Suge Knight thing. So what are you going to say? I'm not a part of that. I'm with you. We ride to die together. My best friend. But in reality, he wasn't. Too many people love Pop. The Crips loved him. They loved him. And if that was the case, they wouldn't love him. They would have tried to kill him. And they didn't.
Absolutely.
They had nothing to do with that.
How do you feel like you were depicted in the Dear Mama docuseries?
I think the exact way that they wanted to depict me. That I was just someone who popped out of the woodwork to try and hook on to Tupac's star. And not that I was his father, who had been trying to reach him for the 5 years and had been lied to for 4 of those years. So that hurt. That hurt. That bothered me. I think everybody had a personal beef with my son, who was in that movie. I really do. The Hughes brothers. Some other people said some things. You know, come on, man. Bipolar. How dare you say that? You know, how dare you? With some other things that they said that he did. No question. The one thing that pissed me off, he asked the question, did Tupac shoot himself in the nuts? Remember?
Yes, I do.
I said, well, why would you ask that disparaging question? What the fuck does that got to do with Dear Mama? But it realized maybe this guy don't really like Pac as much as, and people have been saying that. They said that, well, why would the Hughes brothers? Pac didn't like that man. Why would he be doing it? Of course, for money. I didn't know the Foundation was doing. Foundation don't like me, they like Afeni. Not for nothing. And I don't want to still, like to this day, and I'll repeat it now, talk down on Afeni. She was, in fact, a revolutionary woman, and I loved her for that. What changed is when money became involved, and that kind of broke my heart. But the whole movie, I got a few scenes, but there's some other ones I don't even know what the fuck they were saying, because I talked 2 hours, and the shit they put in there was just crazy. It was just crazy. People said, you did well. You didn't get nothing from me. You had long 5-minute conversations with everybody else. You had little tidbits with me.
That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, not for nothing, bro. And I said what I'm saying to you, I said the same shit to him. And throughout the whole motherfucking movie, they talked about the same shit that everybody talks about. All his troubles, trouble with the law, the fights, all the bullshit. Well, that's well known. Talk about something that people don't know about, the depth of his soul. Talk about that. They had a section where the police were saying everywhere he goes, there's trouble. Remember? I don't know if you saw that. I was like, what the fuck is that? Why would you say that? Like he brought the trouble. They hated him. The establishment hated him. The government hated him. A black man never walked out of court after shooting 2 police officers in the ass in the history of this country. And he walked.
Jay-Z, in and around 1996, dropped his album Reasonable Doubt. And Jay-Z wasn't widely known at that particular time. The publicity wasn't kicking up. Tupac was the man.
What?
He was the dawn of the whole rap industry at that particular time.
Yes, he was.
All Eyes on Me did very well. Upon Tupac's death, nobody knew that Tupac had Machiavelli ready. In the beginning of the Machiavelli album, Tupac mentioned Jay-Z's name. Do you think that Tupac mentioning Jay-Z's name had anything to do with the publicity and the fame that he would capture after that moment?
No, I didn't see it that way. It might possibly be, but I think Jay-Z is just a very talented individual, and he's gotten everything he deserves. There's money out there to be made, and he's made his money. I wish my son would have made his money. I wish he had better management. I wish he had a better foundation, because all that he did do, I don't think his family or him ever saw the benefits, the rewards from that. No, but I don't think Jay-Z, because Pac would spit on everybody. You know, remember he talked about Jay-Z, Mobb Deep, all of them. I think that's sporadic. I think that's the heat of the moment. You feel somebody challenges you, you just speak up on it, you verbally. The nigga would just open his mouth. He didn't care what he said and when he said it, whether it was right or wrong, because we know some shit he said was wrong. We know some shit he did was wrong. But in this whole scheme of things, that ain't that big of a deal when you think about it. You know, I'm sure that they would have gotten along in the latter stages of the career if they would have been together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I appreciate that. The reason why, and the reason why I say that is because it was the final, or what was thought to be the final piece of art from Tupac. Because at that particular time, unbeknownst to the public, they did not know that Tupac had another album ready.
Oh, I didn't know.
And so with that, there was a heightened awareness as to that album and what Tupac had to say. That was the reason why I asked you that question.
Oh, okay. No, I wasn't aware of that.
You wasn't aware of that?
I can't really speak on it.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you feel like it was a fair and accurate depiction of your son, Tupac Shakur, from what you know about him based on the Dear Mama docuseries?
No. I thought it was more based on Afeni. I think it lived up to the name, Dear Mama, with Tupac in the co-starring position to elevate her. Not that she needed that, because she's a great woman, don't get me wrong. She made Tupac with the help, of course, of his father, but she was a good mother. She did the best she could. She had issues, but we all had issues. But no, I didn't. I thought they could have been more in depth about what made Tupac the way he was, and not the reaction to everything else that had occurred in his life. The crime, the scenes, the gunfights, the stupid shit. That's like All Eyes on Me. Stupidest fucking movie you ever wanted to see. And I could say that right now on screen. Stupidest fucking movie you ever wanted to see. I watched it once and it was ridiculous. Any good movie, you know that. You watch it over and over because it makes you want to watch it. Did you want to see that one again?
No, not actually.
Yeah, it didn't offer. Yeah. It did. You might as well took all the news clippings and put them together and then just read that. You know, the screaming, the negative, loud outbursts, the impatience of behavior. Nothing about how he cared for his people. People forget that. That's how he came. Check out how Tupac started out. It was the most deepest revolutionary music you had ever heard. It was before its time. And then he had that break and certain things happened that made him, or I don't know why it did make him do that, but he changed, you know, and that East Coast, West Coast, I'll shoot you, motherfucking this and that. You feel betrayed. So you're going to speak on it. He just, when he spoke on it, maybe 20 million people hear it, you know, where everybody, we say stupid shit, but nobody hears it. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. I just wish that they had just showed more of Pac. That's all. I just wish they had showed more of what made him what made him the way he really was, and that didn't do it. That showed more of Afeni, more than anything else. And you can show Afeni, but then don't build it up as a Tupac movie. I know it's Dear Mama, but let's be honest. Pac said that he made that song. Okay, this is going to hurt the world, but I don't know if I should even say this. When I was talking to Pac in prison, he said, Pops, when I made that song, I made it for all moms who were struggling. Of course, it fit my mom, so I let her run with it, but I made it for all the mothers, because all the mothers deserve that. Afeni didn't go through no more than any other single parent, mother raising a child. I mean, It's a thin line, bro. I don't want to disparage Afeni Shakur.
I totally understand.
Yeah, but
That's not
I'm
why
going to
we
tell
get
you what I believe and what he told me.
Yeah.
You know, he told me some things that I'm not going to say now, but weren't very pleasant, things that he did for her. I don't know if they were appreciated. Buying her house and wasn't big enough, buying her car wasn't new enough. Little stupid shit. But he would tell me this. How would I know this if he didn't tell me?
So you said that Tupac told you that he would buy Afeni Shakur when he bought her a house and he bought her a car.
She gave it to her daughter.
She gave it to her daughter. And she would say that the house wasn't big enough.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I should say that. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's
It's
the truth.
Yeah, it's the fucking truth. Bought a car, wasn't good enough. Yeah, he was blind to me. He didn't know. We had some serious conversations. He asked me to talk to him about his mother. He said, Daddy, he said, Pop, tell me about my mom. I think it was my first visit, and I had no idea. How could I tell you?
I think, and I want you to continue, but I think this is what he was talking about in walking down Venice Beach.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Some of the things that you guys talked about, you know, from that perspective. So could you elaborate?
Well, he would just wanted to know, in fact, anything I could enlighten him about her, but I was just getting to know him. It wasn't my nature. And what I'm telling you now, it really ain't my nature to be saying, but I'm saying it. They talk, I'm talking. It's my shot. I'm gonna say it like it is. It's what he told me, so I'm telling the world. You believe it if you want. If you don't, that's up to you. You really don't matter. You really don't. When you put it all together, what's it matter? People gonna have opinions of Pop. People gonna have opinions of me, and opinions of Afeni. But you don't have to knock down one to build up another. That's all I'm saying. Stand on your own merit. Be your own person. And let that go for what it is. And that's what I found difficult with that documentary.
Absolutely.
And then the questions that were asked, the bipolar, did he shoot himself? Why would you even bring that up in his legacy? Why would you even have people question, in fact, oh, Tupac shot himself in the nuts? What the fuck? Who cares if he did? But he didn't, but who cares? And you had everybody agreeing, oh, the Glock doesn't have a safety. Or what the fuck do you know? You weren't there. Did he show you his nuts? I'm getting a little excited. I do that at times, but when I was watching it just pissed me off. It just pissed me off.
Because in fact, you did see what was there and what happened. He showed you when you came to the hospital.
Nuts was intact, brother.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he did this when Jasmine's guy apartment.
Oh, he did it in Jasmine. Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. When
See?
I went to see him. First, I walked in the room, pulled back the cover. Butt naked, say, Pop, they didn't shoot me in the nuts. Now, why he wanted to show me that, I don't know. But he did. So that's cool. I was happy to see it.
It's funny how that made its rounds before it even...
Think about that.
Yeah.
But did you spend? I got some clippings that I looked at before I came over. Remember I said I was looking for papers. And the whole thing was he lived by the way he died. He was a gangster. He was a thug. These are the articles written in ink about my son's demise that I could show you, but you well know that happened. Pac wasn't no thug. Pac was just out there trying to do what he do. And, he wasn't no thug. He ain't never heard of Marty in his life. He would help people, matter of fact. And that's what I think might have hurt him, because he's helping these people fight this guy over mythical bullshit. Right. Black people shouldn't be fighting one another anyway. So what the fuck are we fighting each other over? A medallion? A medallion got the greatest rapper of all time killed? Think about that. That logic, that mentality. Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, bro. You don't even want to keep that in, but I just get frustrated when I hear that bullshit.
After hearing Tupac was shot in Las Vegas, after you arrived in Las Vegas, what was the first thing you did?
Go see him. Go see him. That was the first thing I did. And I cried to myself. I had a tear coming down. It didn't look good. I don't know what the fuck. It just didn't look good. And yet, I still thought he would survive. I just knew he would survive. Some say he still might have. But that's a very delicate question. I don't know if I should bring that up. because I had lung cancer. I have 1.5 lungs. They took bottom half of my lung. I can't run the marathon. I can't sing a cappella, but I'm alive. Pac had his lung taken from being shot. I don't think it's up to anybody to decide whether someone should live in an altered state. That for someone to say, he won't be himself, let him go. I wasn't at the hospital that time. I don't think I would have said that. Okay, and I'm not trying to say, that that's what the case, that he might still have died. But I don't think I would ever have said, let him go. There's no fucking way I would have said that. No fucking way. I'd have taken that motherfucker with half an arm, half a lung. He still would have been Tupac. He still would have been Tupac.
So basically, you had nothing to do with the decision to take Tupac off of life support.
No, they were resuscitating him a couple times. It didn't look good. I'm not saying he would have survived. I'm just saying I wouldn't have muttered those words. There's no way. Her sister and Fanny was in the room at the time with the doctors. I was just coming back from the hotel, like I told you earlier. But I found this out later. Who's to say? I don't know if I should have brought that up, but it still pisses me off. Like I tried to tell you before, I don't want to disparage that lady. I swear to God, I don't.
I think it's very important that you speak what is the truth. And because the world has been speculating for so many years about what they thought happened, what people told them, people that weren't there. Once again, the reason why I asked you this is because you were there. And you can accurately speak on it based on fact, not based on hearsay.
Yeah. Well, they said that. Glow had said that in the interview. That Afeni had said that. So that's where I got it from.
Okay.
How do you think I found out? I didn't. That's what she had said. Okay. And Afeni had said it also.
Because you said that you were at the stoplight.
Yes, I was coming back.
Okay.
I was coming back.
Okay.
To the hospital. So when I heard that, that kind of stuck in my craw. But I wasn't there.
How were you notified that Tupac wanted you to come see him at Dannemora prison?
I think it was Karen Lee, his publicist, because I still thought he didn't want to see me. I'm still under the assumption of lie, even though I went to Bellevue, and he said later that he looked up and saw his image and he knew that I was his father. We hadn't talked because he still suffered 5 gunshot wounds. So he was just kind of in and out of consciousness, but he was glad to see me. We were supposed to go back to the apartment when he left, but someone told me that he would contact me later, which I found out now probably was someone else and not him, because we were in the elevator going up. I get there and see, so everything comes in clear view later when I see the reasons why. You understand what I'm saying? So Karen said, Pac wants to see you, because I wasn't, I figured I'm still under the illusion he didn't want to see me. You see what I'm saying? I'm still under that. That's what they told me. I had bum rushed myself over to the hospital to make sure I saw him. So I did what I had to do. And so when she said that, I was happy as a pig as shit. I'm going to see my son. He wants to see me. That's the first time we had a chance to talk. But then again, we can't talk. It's 5, 6, 7, 8 people in a small room. Our first talk was in the waiting room of Dannemora, Clinton Penitentiary. And we would just sit there and talk about a lot of shit, but we just talked. We had fun playing Monopoly. I took my wife, he brought his wife, we'd play Monopoly. And the nigga tried to cheat. He tried to go past goal. And I'll never forget that. And we all looked at him and said, Pa, you cheating, what the fuck? He said, hey, I'm in prison. I laughed. That's just a little how he is, that's all. He was a good guy. I was happy. And the happiest moments is when we would leave. I'd be the last one to leave the vision room because they're going to strip search him. 3 o'clock, but they tell you to go, everybody's leaving. I'm mingling. It took me 15 years to see this nigga. Now you're going to tell me I got to go at 3. And I would, last thing, I love you, boy. He said, I love you too, Pops. Shit. I was happy as a motherfucker. You couldn't tell me nothing, brother. You couldn't tell me nothing. Because for him to accept me after 15 years, what I need y'all for? What I need you to tell me about my relationship with my son.
Yes.
For him to tell me, I got letters where he says, you know, well, I'll show you later. But
I think that's very important, because when I read the letter that was addressed to your brother Brock, the things that he said in the bottom of the letter really told me about what he really wanted, what his desires were, despite what everybody else has been saying over the years. You just shared that with me.
Right.
And so I think it's very telling, the letter.
You remember the part where he says, tell my brothers and sisters to write me?
That part. That's the part right there.
Tell my brothers and sisters to write me. He didn't know about them.
And he waited long enough.
Yes,
and he wanted to be a family.
Yeah, exactly.
And
now,
so,
I'm sorry not to cut you off.
No, I want you to go ahead and go.
The kicker was, after he died, I had, I think, the one album that came out after he died, we had it in a tape, in a boombox. We would leave the boombox.
Was that the Machiavelli album?
Yes.
Okay.
The tape was in it. We was at the airport. I'm getting ready to fly back to Newark. I get to the airport. When you lose a son, sometimes tears just come down your eyes. I'm talking to the clerk, the airline. She says, sir, what's the problem? I just told her who I was, Father Tupac Shakur. She said, well, I'm going to upgrade you to first class. I was like, wow, okay, thank you. But that little consideration made me feel real good. Not that I was flying first class, that she thought so much of my son and my sorrow to do that. But the point being, as we're waiting in the airport to board the plane, somehow Afeni came off the escalator towards me, said I could keep the boombox, but give me the tape. I said, all right, go ahead. Not like I was going to publish it, but I enjoyed listening to it. And she took it and smiled and walked away. And next thing I know, I get papers that I'm dead. Because someone contacted me, a lawyer contacted me. He said, you know you're dead. I'm like, excuse me? Because I had no intention of pursuing any type of legal thing. I'm mourning my son. I didn't see dollar signs. I didn't see the potential of his wealth. I saw that we lost a son. And that bothered me.
So let me be clear. This spawns another question. So basically, you're saying that you were contacted by an attorney in regards to the probate situation that Afeni had filed with the court.
Yes,
and the attorney told you that on those probate papers that you were labeled as dead.
Dead. You have a part that says mother, Afeni Shakur. You have a part that says father. Dead. Similar to his birth certificate.
So how did the lawyer explain that to you?
Well, they said, Bill, you know you have a right. And I had no idea that I had a right. Yeah, I don't think of shit like that. I don't know why. I just don't. Maybe I should have been, you know? For my grandkids. Not for me, for my grandkids. But I just didn't. And he said that you have a right to half the estate. I really want half the estate. I didn't know nothing about the estate. But I didn't want to be dead either. I didn't want to be listed as dead. I'm tired of being dead. You had me dead prior to us hooking up, and now I'm dead again. So it kind of pissed me off. You understand?
Yes.
And then I still didn't know that those lies were told to him about me. You know, I found this out a little later. It hurt. It really hurt. The whole situation hurt.
I think that's something that's never been revealed before, because I think most people thought that you were somehow trying to come after Tupac's money. For me, at least, this is new information that a lawyer had contacted you and told you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but what did you tell me the first time you talked to me? You said, I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
You said that.
Yeah.
You said you thought I was dead.
Because everybody had been saying it. And like I said, once again, and that was based on that.
I know.
You know, from that perspective. But here today on the Art of Dialogue. Mr. Billy Garland is alive and well.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, indeed.
Touching myself.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There's an infamous picture on the internet that was taken while you were visiting Tupac in prison. And it's you, Tupac, Keisha Morris, and what I believe to be your wife or girlfriend.
At the time, Paulette.
At the time. Explain to me what that day was like, because everybody seemed happy in the photo.
We was happy. We was just, that would have been the day he cheated at the Monopoly, matter of fact. But we, you know, I looked at the photo, and there was one thing that struck me because I didn't pay attention to it till years later. And if you notice, he has a hand around my shoulder. And I like that. It really made me feel good. Because you always wonder, was it true that he didn't want me in his life? Then when you find out that that shit's not true, that he did want a father in his life, and that he expressed that in a lot of his music, a lot. And then for you to carry that lie, for you to perpetuate that lie for all those years, for whatever reason, is inexcusable. To get up on the document, he said, well, we thought it was legs, then we thought it was this guy, and then one says, well, I always thought it was Billy Garland, then I pop up on the screen. Just like I popped up in his life. Like Jasmine God said, he just popped up at my apartment. Yeah, really? Get the fuck out of here. That dumb shit. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Like when I saw it, it pissed me off.
Yeah, it's your feelings. You have a right to feel the way you feel. Did you like Tupac's wife at the time, Keisha Morris, when you met her? And do you think that Tupac should have stayed married to her under the doctrine of he who findeth a good thing, findeth a wife, or vice versa?
Well, I feel bad saying this. They got married in prison. People came to visit Pac. You'll see by the visiting list, a lot of people, different times. But not everybody came all the time. He kind of figured that if I had someone here, I would get the fuck out of a 9x6 cell every day at 9 o'clock. Guaranteed. Because she would be in Dannemora. It's a little apartment they bought her. In fact, I gave her money because the company, Interscope, hadn't given him the money. And I said, how you doing? I ain't had no goddamn money, you know, to be supporting or nothing, but I gave her like 100 or so. I just picked, yeah. She had a little apartment, no furniture in it. She was all right, but she was young. She was wide-eyed. I think she loved Tupac. But I don't think Tupac, knew what love was. He never consummated that relationship. That's why it was easier to get an all when he got out of prison. But I do think, I hate to try to diminish that relationship, but I think it was a marriage made for convenience in terms of getting out of that cell at 9 o'clock in the morning. Guaranteed. Because if people come to visit you, let's be honest, I started out many a time going to visit them, didn't get up there at 11 o'clock. Seen them, then shit happened. First time I went to see him, once again, Karen calls me. This is months after the quad shooting, he was sentenced. I didn't know if he wanted to see me. Karen called me and said, Pac, want to see you. I was happy as a pig and shit. I rented a car. I must have been doing 100 on 87 going to Dannemora. I got a ticket. I got it there. $200-something for speed to see this guy because I wanted to see him so bad. You don't know if you're going to get out that cell at 9 o'clock unless you can guarantee someone's there. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that's why he married her. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying it's tad convenient to have someone there to make sure this happens. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm sorry to this girl. I mean, I haven't seen her since. Matter of fact, I did see her. I saw her in Giant Stadium. And this was after the trial in the Feeney. And she walked by me and cut her eyes at me. I was shocked. I guess she had bleeding out.
So you're saying that you seen Keisha Morris
At a giant, no, one of them black football teams, you know, like Grambling, somebody.
A college football.
Yeah,
Okay.
playing.
And you said
and you know the parking lot where they have the cook and the food and everybody's out there.
Tailgating. Right.
She was walking with her crew and I was walking. I said, hey, Keisha. Didn't turn to her head, didn't speak. I was like, oh, shit. Another one. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Well, I guess people believe what they believe. You know, like you said. I came out of the woodwork, deadbeat dad. No doubt. Could very well have been deadbeat, but it was a reason. Get all your facts together before you judge.
Absolutely.
Please.
Yeah. But when the narrative, you know as well as I know, when the narrative is pushed
and that's
by
just
powerful people.
Exactly.
And they can, you know.
The judge believed her. If I'd had all those things that I showed you, the judge would have probably ruled 50-50. Their lawyer, big time New York lawyer. I had not too big of a time lawyer. Made it seem like I just popped up after Tupac died and wanted the money. And I was like, what about all the visits and all this and the lies? And that was my situation. But nobody, I never did an interview, so nobody believed me. Nobody understood that. This is really the first time. What's this, 27 years later? I'm saying some things that I never said. But I ain't taking this shit to the grave. I just ain't. People need to know, whether they believe it or not. Actually, I don't give a fuck. Excuse me, I'm sorry, kids might be watching this, but I really don't give a fuck, because you believe stupid shit anyway. You believe what you want to believe. But I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it the way I see it.
Absolutely.
And this is the way I see it.
And you're grown.
Too grown. Too grown.
I appreciate that.
Hey, man, I'm just happy. I mean, come on. No matter what, all the negative, all the bullshit, and all the other things that went along with this, all the lies, I'm still the father of Tupac Shakur. Nobody can ever take that shit away. There's only one of me. And whatever you want to believe, you believe. As long as he knew, that's what makes me keep ticking, keep going. You understand?
Absolutely.
As long as he knew.
Absolutely.
And he knew. So.
Yeah. After Tupac was shot at Quad Studios and you went to Bellevue Hospital, there's a rumor that Biggie came into the hospital and you talked to him. Is that true? And if so, what did Biggie say?
Yeah, like I said earlier, he was very, very nice. I guess he saw some other people walking up to me, maybe because I looked just like Pac at that time, and maybe he knew. But he walked up to me and said, Mr. Garland, Tupac's father, I could see that. He said, I'm very sorry. And if there's anything I could do, please let me know. So that shit, when I heard about them being involved in that, I just breathe. I've been around, okay? I've done these things. I've been around a lot of drama. And I know nobody who does a hit goes to the hospital by the goddamn self to visit the person they just shot. Now, they might go to the hospital mob style, but they taking 2 or 3 motherfuckers with them. You know what I'm saying? He was there by himself. Just as innocent as you want to be. And it was just as nice as you want to be. And I knew he had nothing to do. I think Pac knew that too. I think they was feeding him that bullshit.
So with that being said, did you ever get a chance to tell Tupac that Biggie had came to the hospital and visited him?
I think I did, yeah. And when I went to Dannemora, yeah, I think I did. But I don't think that was the conversation, that we were really talking. We were talking about so many other things. His mother, this and that, how you doing, Pops, and shit like that. You need this and that. Now, in light of that, I got this in the back of my mind when he asked me, do I need something? That if I said I did, then I would look like everything that they said I was, coming out the woodwork looking for money. I didn't need nothing, but I could have used something. Right. You giving away cars, fuck, okay, give me one. But that wasn't on my mind. No, I don't need shit from you, son. I'm just glad to see you. I might be the only motherfucker who didn't take nothing from my son. Who didn't take nothing from my son.
So as to the Biggie question, you think you did tell him that Biggie had came to the
In passing,
hospital?
yeah.
In passing.
I think he knew that. That shit didn't really jump off Till later on, people started feeding him bullshit and shit. Then he got Suge Knight in his head, believing that bullshit. Then that Puffy and Suge Knight shit kept, and then he's gonna be the vanguard. This is just the way we are. We like to lead. So he gonna lead this. He gonna be the first one out there talking smack against a motherfucker. And he didn't need to do that. But it was convenient. It sold records, and the press in America fed off that. So did the U.S. government.
Absolutely.
That's what they want. Divide and conquer.
After speaking to Afeni at Bellevue Hospital, at Dannemore Prison, and in Las Vegas, after Tupac was shot and fighting for his life, how did it make you feel that she wanted you to take a DNA test after you sued the estate to prove that you were Tupac's father, after acknowledging that you were Tupac's father in all of those other prior places before you took a DNA test?
It broke my heart. It broke my heart. It really did. I could not understand. You and I know that's our son. You and I know that I'm the father of that boy. And for you to insult me. But I think that's one of her lawyers. But then again, she's fighting for millions of dollars. And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize the significance of that. I'm not looking at the money. I'm just looking to tell the fucking world that I'm Tupac Shakur's father. You're looking on some other shit. You're looking at this, the legality and shit. I'm not even looking at that. All I thought I had to prove that I was his father. The DNA test came back 99.999 positive that he is the father. But you knew that. You knew that for years. You knew that from inception. You knew that in the Black Panther Party when we broke up and you saw I got married to Carol and you wanted maybe a little more time, a little more from me, and I didn't have it. And maybe that's what changed. Who knows why people do what they do? I just know in all my years, it still hurts. You know what I'm saying? When people do stupid shit. And that's stupid shit. A DNA test. I got a picture when we both 25. We look like twins. You know what I'm saying? What part of it you don't, he don't look like you. Not for nothing. I'm sorry, but he don't look like you. And you should know that.
It just happens sometimes that way. Yeah.
Pac told me something broke my heart. He said that when he was, he said, Pops, you know he got kicked out the house.
Yes.
He said I was
he said that in Dear Mama at 17 or something like that, yeah.
He said I was the only one in the house that looked different. And they used to make fun of me because I didn't look like them. I was like, phew. See, in talking to you, Del Rey, I don't want to indict other people's, but I still got to tell you what he told me. I can't make this shit up, so I'm telling you what he told me. So that's what he told me, and I believe him. He was there.
Yeah.
He was there. That's what he told me. Yeah. And he wasn't really nothing until he started making money. Then he was the golden boy. See, now sounds like I'm the sour person putting down people, but I don't want to do that. I just want you to know what my son told me, what I find to be true. Because I've seen some of the dealings that people have done. And it's possible. Let's just say it's possible.
Yeah, anything's plausible.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I said, from you, I'm here just doing an interview, and I appreciate you giving me your time to be able to talk to you, because I don't think that you talk this extensively to anybody from that perspective, other than what you said that you did with the docuseries, but they didn't really present that information.
Yeah.
And so for me, like I said, I'm just humbled, and I'm here to listen to what you have to say. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to make Afeni look bad. I'm not here to make you look good. I'm just listening to basically the details as they were.
We all got flaws.
Absolutely.
I have flaws. I was fucked up. I wasn't in his life. There's reasons why. But I have flaws. But don't think that someone else don't have flaws. That's what I'm trying to say. And true, I've told you more than I've told anybody on the planet before about some personal shit between me and Tupac. Okay? But I'm telling you, brother, because I love you, and you've always been straight shooting. I've known you now about a year, and pretty much you've been truthful. And I really appreciate truth.
And I appreciate you for appreciating me.
Yeah.
It's reciprocal, you know?
It ain't enough of that in the world, though,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
It just ain't. People just don't. However it hits you, bad or good, it's just say it. It's the truth.
Absolutely.
Just say it.
Absolutely.
Well, you gotta hide shit.
And hopefully you can, the person, whoever's listening and feels some way about it, they can forgive you like you forgave them.
We all have flaws, brother.
Absolutely.
We all flawed, but I ain't lie. I've never lied to him or Faney or anyone else. I never said anything that wasn't true. I might have did some fucked up shit, but I never lied.
And that's important.
Why you gotta lie?
And that's important.
Why you gotta lie? Why you gotta lie? She called me too before the trial. I don't know. I can't even speculate. I thought it was to make a deal, but I was so pissed. Something had happened. His cousin got killed in Montclair. Say his name. Gaddafi.
Right.
She came out to the funeral.
Okay.
I was going to go. I didn't go. But she called me. I don't know. Now, in retrospect, I'm not too sure why she called me, but I was still pissed about that. Oh, I brought it up. Why did you say that I was dead? And that ended the conversation. Maybe she called me to make a deal. Maybe I should have made a deal. Maybe she wanted to say, I'll give you 25%, 40%, whatever. I'm not sure because she never called me. Then she had Seth call me one day and said, we're going to send you one of Tupac's suits.
Hold on, for the people that don't, because that was fast. Fenia had her daughter Setua call you one day. Okay,
I'm gonna send you a suit. A suit. I mean, might be valuable on eBay today, but at that time, that wasn't on my mind, brother. A suit. But why would you do that? I didn't know the conniving and the bullshit. I'm still fucking dumbfounded by that, because I always saw somebody like, when you see somebody like so and then they ain't that, breaks your heart, man. And you still hold on to the initial belief. A lot of us do. And that was just a bump in the road. Maybe they are better. Maybe they are what you thought they were in the beginning. But the more I see things, the more I realize, nah. Because when I heard some things, she went on a talking spree and she talked about me like a dog. I just could not believe it. Talk about Pac. That's why they got you here. Oh, yeah, he wasn't shit. He was a sperm bank. This shit went on for it was on YouTube. One of the things, she was at a college book signing, some shit. Broke my heart. I'm like, whoa, you got the money? Why all that slander shit? What's that about? Why? Make yourself feel better? Justify this or that? I don't know. And I feel bad right after Dear Mama, because the world loved Dear Mama. Everybody says, oh, that was beautiful. I saw you on Dear Mama. I saw her. Yeah, she's beautiful. But there's always something negative in a positive situation too. So forgive me if I'm concentrating on that. But that's how we got to this point.
Absolutely.
That's how we got to me just being a driver.
Absolutely.
Or this or that or whatever.
Absolutely.
That's how. And I just maybe sprouting out too much shit because I'm pissed, but I'm going to sprout it out.
Yeah, I like I said, once again, I appreciate your honesty. Thank you. I appreciate that. Were you and Afeni Shakur ever on a visit with Tupac at the same time as his mother and father while he was in Dannemora prison?
No.
So you never...
He got mad at me.
Tupac got mad at you?
June 16th, when I went up there again, maybe in July.
On his birthday?
He said, Papa, why you didn't come see me on your birthday?
On his birthday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, I told him, I said, I think your mother was here, was she? I didn't really want to be there. What am I going to say to you with her there? What is she going to say to me with you there? What's the purpose? Most uncomfortable. I'll never forget the first time we sat in the room together with her sitting in between me and Pop. Like a buffer, waiting for him, whatever was going to be said to me and him. But I didn't know that, in fact, she had lied. I didn't know that. I didn't know. I didn't know she had lied to him. I found that out much later.
Very interesting. That's very interesting. Putting yourself in Tupac's frame of mind for everything that he thought at that time that had happened between him and Biggie. As Tupac had alluded to on 3 different occasions that he had slept with Biggie's wife, Faith Evans. Do you think that Tupac was wrong for sleeping with Biggie's wife? Or do you think it took 2 to tango?
I don't think you should do that. I tell you, he did some stupid shit. But that's just the stupid shit in him. That's that Gemini shit. And then he mad at the East Coast like a motherfucker. He mad. So he gonna get back any way he can. Little jabs. You know how we do. You know how that shit is. Like calling the motherfucker. Well, I fucked your wife. Motherfucker. Same shit. You understand what I'm saying? No, I didn't like the video. Nice beat. I love the beat. Man, but the fuck are you talking about sleeping with somebody's wife for? Who does that? But that's part of the shit that he was in. That's that environment, that tough guy. I'm so tough, I could tell you I slept with your wife. And if you did, keep your mouth shut. But shit, what's wrong with you? Why make things worse? That's all I'm saying, bro. A lot of things that people do that we don't like. My son, me, everybody. So that was one of them that I didn't like. I didn't like that record. I didn't like that at all. No.
So you saying you didn't like Hit 'Em Up?
No, I like the beat, but the content. You up here, man, with words. You telling the truth about society. You breaking down the right and wrong of America. You telling people how to go about being real, because you were real. Then you're going to stoop to that level? That soap opera shit? That ain't you. And don't let them people take you there. For what? This commercial? We got enough commercial motherfuckers. I can name some names, but I don't want to. Well, I will. Half the rappers in America are commercial. Watch TV. Watch the NBA game. They sell everything with rap. Everything's black rap, but it's commercialized. It's nothing substance. It has nothing. Offers absolutely nothing. And they make more money. Motherfucker made a record. He made more money than Pac made in 5 years. You know what I'm saying? They got mansions and shit. And the beat ain't shit. The hook ain't shit. The music ain't shit, but they play it on the radio over and over and over.
Marketing.
You know about it. I ain't gonna tell you.
At least publicly, it didn't seem to bother Biggie that Tupac had slept with his wife, Faith Evans, based on the fact that in the song Brooklyn's Finest, Biggie said, if Faith had twins, she'd probably have two Pacs. Get it? Two Pacs. Do you think Tupac and Biggie would have been able to reconcile their differences if they had both survived?
That's a tough one, bro. I don't know. You tell the world you slept with my wife, I don't know if I want to really hang with you for a little while. You know, we got to let things simmer down. So I don't think so. I think aside from that, they might have, in time, as they both matured. You got to remember, these are kids. 25, 24. There's the babies, man. I think about when I was 25. I thought I knew everything. I realize now I didn't know jack shit. I was a stupid motherfucker. You just think you know every fucking thing, and you don't know shit. And I think when money, cars, and jewelry support that psyche that you do know something, you know, hey, I got money. Look at these guys. I got gold chains and shit. But you're a baby, and you're stupid. Not everybody. I'm just saying, the youngins. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Bro. And I can talk about it. You never had to work for it, even though you're a good basketball player, good rapper. But you really never really had to work for it. You didn't do what your parents did to appreciate what you have. Because if you did, maybe, just maybe, you might not buy a $200 million fucking house. Do you know how many $250,000 houses you can buy for the poor with $200 million houses? I don't want to mention no names, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, he's got $1 billion, but not for fucking nothing. You don't have to do that. We know you rich. How much is Pac spoke on that too. How much is a fucking no? How many houses do you need?
You're speaking about Jay-Z.
Okay.
It's okay. I mean, it's all over the news.
Yeah. But Jay-Z's going to be mad. Oh, Pac's father ain't shit. Watch him say. I love you, Jay. And you do a lot for people. Because my daughter loves you. And every time I talk about you, she brings you up. You and Beyonce. I love her too.
I think personally that they deserve whatever they work for.
Yeah, I do too.
At the end of the day.
Not for nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about me.
Absolutely.
I look at that.
Got you.
P, I look at people in the street, man. I got no money, but I give people money. I see somebody struggling at a grocery store, putting shit back. No, you buy that. I buy them that. It ain't shit. I don't think nothing about it. I don't pat myself on the back like I did something glorious. It's just helping someone out.
Yes.
That's just helping someone out.
Yes.
So if you're in a position to do that, then you should do that. And they do that. Don't get me wrong. foundations, black people, they've done so much for black people. They've done more than other people. Done more than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan gives it a Red Cross. Fuck a Red Cross. Red Cross don't give a shit about us.
Right.
Tax deductible, people say. It's giving. It's charity. He gives. Yeah, but to who do you give? Who receives the benefit of your fruits of your labor?
Absolutely.
And I think it should be the grassroots. So to me, shit, I'm putting somebody in the house. I don't give us a shack, 150,000. I could buy a gazillion of them, and them motherfuckers will say my name like God for the rest of their life because he bought me a house.
You brung Michael Jordan up. Speaking of Michael Jordan, when Tupac was alive, Tupac made a statement in regards to Michael Jordan.
No kidding.
Not helping out black kids. And Tupac basically said, if Michael Jordan would do the same thing that he did in the white neighborhoods with the white kids, how much it would mean.
No doubt.
If he came over,
no doubt,
and gave that same energy.
I didn't know that.
To black kids.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's an actual.
See, you told me something I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's
so
beautiful.
So what do you think about
I agree
that?
with him 100%. I mean, Michael's great. He had a great run. He ain't better than LeBron James, but that's another subject. Okay.
Stop the cap.
But he rather sell sneakers, not for nothing. He won't speak up on issues. He won't say that shit's wrong. He definitely won't kneel down and shoot two cops in the ass who's beating up a black man on the side of the road. He won't stand up and talk about George Floyd. See what I'm saying? He won't do shit that he can do because he's in that position. Nobody's going to take your business being you say stuff.
Do you think Suge Knight was a good or bad influence on Tupac's life and career?
Might have been the worst thing he ever did, was sign with Death Row. And I heard from some people that he was really just the front. He really didn't put the money up. That I heard that it was Interscope and shit that put the money up, and it made it look like he saved Tupac. But if you dangle me a rope and if I'm drowning, I'm grabbing the fucking rope. I don't give a fuck who it belongs to. Let's be honest. If you're going to get me out of this hellhole, because it was a hellhole. I went up there, those country, funky looking motherfuckers with that shit. Worst gang I ever saw. Dannemore, worst fucking place I've ever seen. And they used to fuck with him. They used to threaten him. You ain't shit. You ain't no star here. Why nobody come to see you? And then when Madonna would come, they'd be like gawking and all looking. But in their heart, they pissed at him because she coming to see you. You can't even get an autograph, a guard. So they're going to fuck with you when you go back.
But she never came to see him. Did she? I think she was supposed to.
She was supposed to.
And but she didn't. But yeah, but that whole anticipation of the moment was
she
like.
She didn't come see you. Yeah, you ain't shit. And they would test him. And I think they were testing him to see if there would be some response so they could do something to him. I talked to the Rev,
Al
nice
Sharpton.
guy, great guy.
You were the one who called Al Sharpton to let Al Sharpton know that Tupac was receiving threats.
Exactly.
In prison.
I owe him to this day.
Elaborate on that, please.
I called him and he met me in Fort Lee, New Jersey at a restaurant, one of the little diners. Me and my wife were eating. Al came in. Of course, they knew who he was. They looked at him. Anyway, I said, could you possibly, go up to Dannemore and speak to the warden in hopes that my son's safety would be guaranteed. I went up the next day. I just loved that. He'll always be my hero. Talked to the warden. Warden talked to his lieutenants and captains. He said, Pops, when I went to visit Tupac, he said, Pops, I don't know what you did, but the warden was coming by my cell every 45 minutes saying, are you all right? Any problems? Lieutenants and captains was coming by and saying, you all right? Any problems? So I don't know what he said to him, but it must have been enough to put the fear in them that they weren't going to let his goon employees intimidate him and hurt him. And he thanked me for it. He said, thanks, Pops. I'll never forget it. I was happy though. I still owe that man something, Reverend Al Sharpton. I owe him something.
In the Dear Mama documentary, Tupac's auntie Gloria said that Afeni told her she didn't know who Tupac's father was. When was the first time you found out that the baby that Afeni Shakur was carrying was yours?
When he was born. Everybody knew. He was coming up to me in the Panther office. We all knew. Yeah. Immediately. There was no question. There was no question until Tupac became famous. And then there was a problem. And then after he died, there was a problem. But in between famous and before he died, I was the father. In good standing, me and her was crying and bawling in the same room. We were at a lot of serious sit-downs and meetings together. We were at that hospital together. We were at Dannemora, but we weren't together. But I visited him the same amount of time she did, so that's. And a lot of people visited him. Though. It was good. I guess that helped his spirits. So I'm glad they did.
Do you think that Tupac would have turned out different, or maybe still be alive, if you had an opportunity to be in his life like a normal father?
Yeah, but would he have been Tupac? People say, well, Pogne was there. Maybe he'd have did better. He'd have survived. But would he have been himself? Would he have been that individual, that spirit? Who's to say? I mean, who's to really say? I wish I was, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather have him alive than famous. Think about that. He's known throughout the world. So why should my selfish ass? You understand what I'm saying in terms of that?
Absolutely.
I have to deal with this every day. You know
that question. That you ask yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, if I was, if shoulda, coulda, woulda,
it vexes me.
Like Prince, Tupac didn't have a will, and as a consequence, everything had to go through probate court. Since you were his father and you were still living, how come you weren't part of that process?
Because she put on the paper that I was dead. So now I had to prove that I was alive. Okay, now then go ahead and prove that you're his father. Once that was done, okay, now go ahead. California has something that's not only you have to be his father, you have to show some support through his upbringing. You just can't be his father. So now go ahead and prove that you supported him. Without all the mitigating circumstances that he was lied to, kept away from me, and all that other shit. But that's how that ended. And I had some issues, health issues. I just had a major operation. We had just lost the case, but we were appealing. And they offered a certain amount of money, and I'm laid up there sick, and it was never about the money with me. So I took that deal. Substantial amount, bought a house, but lived pretty well. But things happen. It would never have been what it should have been. But now I look at it now. I almost kind of like what happened. The money's in other people's hand. It's not in the foundation. Like Prince, like Michael, it's just in other people's hand. And it makes you wonder, what the hell is that about?
Yeah.
What the hell is that about?
Speaking of that, just recently, Setua Shakur, Tupac's sister, filed a lawsuit against the estate, mainly the executive of the estate, Tom Wiley, basically alleging that he had committed fraud and was misappropriating funds, if you will.
Probably.
As the father of Tupac, who you accepted the deal involving that situation with Afeni, how does that make you feel?
Terrible. It's ridiculous. Should be in the family. The money should be in the family. It really should. It just should be.
And Setua shouldn't have to fight this fight.
No, she shouldn't. Not at all. I think I'd have fought harder if I knew this was going to happen, this end result. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened. I don't know how y'all lost. I don't know how y'all let that happen. I had nothing to do with it. And nothing I could have said. You know who called me? TMZ called me. The day Afeni died, wanted to know if I was going to challenge the estate. Swear to God. I'm sad. I loved Afeni. I'm mourning her. I wasn't thinking about that. I probably had it right. I probably could have made a little damage. You know what I mean? It's a good settlement, but I wouldn't still thinking about that. I never think about money, and I should, to the detriment of my grandchildren. You know, I'm all right. I ain't rich, but can do what I want to do, can go where I want to go, can eat what I want to eat. I'm all right. I'd like to be better. Don't get me wrong. I play the picket now and then, you know, shit. But I'm just saying, if I knew it was going to end up like that, I think I might have followed the harder. You know? There's just so much deception in the world. I don't know how they got that. I don't know how that ended up in the hands of a Caucasian man. I have to understand, how did y'all let that happen? The minute Tupac died, Fannie went to the record company and they was paying us $16,000 a week, which was a lot of money. I'm in New Jersey crying like a motherfucker, drinking as much Hennessy as this body could take. I drank so much Hennessy, I was so sad, because I was just gotten back to see my son. I just gotten together with him, and then for this to happen. Oh, remember I told you about the airport? Afeni approached me, took the tape out of the boombox. She told me that Pac had planned for that November, that Thanksgiving, to have all his siblings, the ones that he wrote about in the letter, all of them up in LA for a Thanksgiving dinner. I thought that was interesting. And she told me this. How else would I know? I'm telling you. Right? That might have been the start of something good. That just might have been the start.
And this, Tupac had told her that.
Yes.
So that confirms basically what he was saying in the letter.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't know. He didn't know he had a grandmother. He didn't know he had a father. He didn't know he had a grandfather. He didn't know he had a grandmother. He didn't know he had uncles. Well, here's something they all gone to, bro. Between you and I might be the oldest one in my family. Father, mother, grandparents, uncles, aunts. I just lost my sister. I lost my daughter. I lost my brother. I lost my other brother. I lost a son. I lost a daughter.
My condolences to your daughter, who you just recently lost.
Yeah, 2 months ago. Might
Yes,
be the
sir.
hardest one of them all.
Yeah.
Because she
Your
was so
firstborn.
young. Firstborn daughter. She was 49. Nika Jerry. She was producer for General Hospital for years.
Nobody knew that.
Yeah, I know. She didn't want to tell nobody.
You know, that's Tupac's older sister.
Yes.
Tupac's
younger sister.
Tupac's youngest sister.
Yeah, the boys were always older.
Was a producer on General Hospital.
Yeah, Landon, Malik, and then Tupac, then Nika, then Takira, then Billy Jr. That's his sibling.
What would you like people to remember Billy Garland, the father of Tupac Shakur, as at the end of his life?
Very interesting. Of my sacrifice, what I wanted to do and for my people. I gave up a promising career, playing basketball, going to college, to be in the Black Panther Party. I don't regret it for one moment. I went from being out on half court of Madison Square Garden for being All-State New Jersey. They brought all the players out and they bring you out half court and at the basketball game. Clyde Frazier, Willis Reed, all of them. They give you an award. And then after that, you go have dinner with the Knicks. I loved it. Okay? But that, with what I was about and what I was planning on doing, I gave it up because I just didn't like injustice. And I think I would want them to remember that. I just don't, I still talk about it. But I got a small audience, Facebook, Instagram, anything that goes down, you see it, I speak on it. People say, well, why are you so upset? I just hate to see shit like that. It breaks my fucking heart. Why you got to shoot a brother in the back for nothing? You know, why you got to do that? Why you got to do this? And it keeps getting done and it just worse and worse. And it bothers me. My wife tells me I should not. My wife, Alex, sweetest girl, saved my life. Without her, I don't think I'd be shit. I met her at a very late age, at 50. Beautiful woman.
She is. I've actually seen photos of you and her.
Yeah, that's my girl. But I don't know. It's just crazy, bro. I think I done told you too much, man. They gonna come after me. I'm gonna have a lawsuit.
You ain't got no lawsuit, man. Look,
the government gonna put out a contract.
Nah, they ain't gonna put out.
Follow me around.
Hey, look, don't get Tupac on me. Don't get paranoid on me.
You know, brother, I'll tell them I'll be 74 in 2 months. Ain't too much you could do for me. I had a couple cancers. I'm surviving. I got COPD. My knees killed me from playing basketball. But I keep taking, and I'm gonna keep going. So it ain't too much you could do. What you gonna do? What the fuck? Just when I was young, what the fuck can you do to me? Kill me? I ain't keeping quiet. Till the day I die, I'm always gonna speak the truth. Right or wrong. If it's wrong, let's debate it. We can talk. But if it's right, let's talk about that. Let's not just shuffle it under the rug like shit didn't happen.
Absolutely.
Like it just didn't happen.
Absolutely. How do you feel about Afeni Shakur wanting to take Tupac off life support? And did you, as his father, have any say in that?
No, I wasn't there. Now you can ask another question. Would I have done it? And I would say no.
So let me rephrase it then. If it were up to you and seeing Tupac Shakur in the condition that he was in Las Vegas, in a coma, to take him off of life support, would you have taken him off life support?
To me, man, see, I'm just cut a little different. To me, a little something is better than nothing. And death is nothing. There's nothing left after death. There's no Tupac. So I'd rather had a quarter, a half, a third of Tupac. He still would have been Tupac, so he can't rap. I don't think he can write. He can act. They said his heart stopped. They brought him back. They said it stopped again. They brought him back. Man, I'd have made the motherfuckers work on that 100 times. If you could do that, you ever watch the movies? They just keep pumping, just keep pumping. I don't give a shit. Please. Now, I don't know. It's just the way I am. That's just the way I am, bro. I would not. I'm not questioning her judgment in that. Like I said, I wasn't there. Maybe she saw something I didn't see. I was coming back to the hospital. That's 15 fucking minutes. If I would have been there, maybe we would have had a different discussion on it. Yeah.
As Tupac's father, did you have any say-so in Tupac being cremated?
No, not one thing. Wasn't invited to the event. Not at all. I was going to bum rush it. I was going to take his two brothers, which are both 6'2", and we all going to go to it and just bum rush it. Yeah, well, they all look like, I don't know if you've seen them, they look just like them. So we weren't even invited. So it started then, unfortunately. And I don't know how we went from mourning our son in that room in the Golden Nugget to not existing. How did that go? How did that work? What caused that? What was the reason for that? Why would you do that? And there's only one conclusion I can come to is selfishness and money.
Thank you, Mr. Garland. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate saying some things to you that I haven't said in a long time. I don't know how they came out, and I'm sorry if I sound
I think to the contrary. I think you being you is the best thing you can be. If you came in here and tried to give politically correct answers, try to say all of the things that you needed to say, some soft shit, and tried to do all of that, I think it would come across as disingenuous.
Nice.
I think I can see a lot of that fire that Tupac had in him that possibly came from you, and just how, from what I've seen and the things that I experienced. Yeah, but like I said, more importantly, William Garland, the father of Tupac Shakur, thank you for giving me your time. Thanking you for being here on the Art of Dialogue. I appreciate you and wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you, brother. I enjoyed talking to you. You're a pleasure. You've always been, even on the phone, when you used to beg me to do this fucking interview. And I kept saying, no, motherfucker, because everybody lies, and you know what I'm saying. I told you that before.
Right.
I've done so many. And whatever, people can believe it if they want. If I'm 74, I don't give a shit. You know, whether they believe it or not. If you do, you don't, yay, that's up to you. I done said it. Now, if I walk out there and get hit by a car, at least you got proof that I said some shit. Whether they believe it or not, we got it on tape.